Yo, so I recorded audio for this video and then I exported it, and my laptop said that it was kind of like chunky. Like, it still exported as an MP3, but like it was like, oh, you're running out of gigabytes on your laptop. So I was like, okay. And I started cleaning out files that I didn't need anymore on my laptop. And in that cleaning hustle, I ended up putting in the recycling bin the audio for this video, and I ended up emptying it out too late. And by the time I was editing, I was like, oh shit, I don't have the fucking audio. So here I am recording it again because I'm stupid and a professional YouTuber. So I'm full copium mode right now, but I will push through. Oh my god. So, all that being said, I went to my friends on my Discord and I was like, hey, what type of video should I do? And we landed on popular/unpopular anime figure opinions. And that's what you're watching. And here I go. I will probably just do this all in one take. And if you hear me breathing or like hear me like just skipping my words and saying garbage, I'm sorry. You can put me in the background. I'm gonna have B-roll of me playing a game via twitch.tv/cashmoneyjk. I play video games over there. You can check me out. But other than that, let's just get into it. I'm gonna start off with a popular opinion so that you know that I'm not like a terrible anime figure collector. And the first one is going to be that pop-up parades, or at least recent pop-up parades, have been horrible recently, and they have recently just up their MSRP to I think like $44 now. I think in yen they're actually 4,800 yen, but in USD it's going to be $44, and that's, oh my god, that's crazy just to think, because that's not including shipping. And a lot of people usually on aftermarket will hike it just a little bit. So before the MSRP raise, you would see pop-up parades going for about like their $32 ish to about 45 depending on character. And now that their MSRP is actually around $45 now before shipping, like you're probably the average price for a pop-up parade is gonna be anywhere between like 45 to 60, maybe even $70. And at that point, pop-up parades are in the realm of kind of like a medium tier, like entry level, where it's kind of competing against like other Good Smile figures like Nendoroids and Figmas. And you also have other figure companies like Bandai with their Figart Zero line, and Aniplex's new Kono figure line, which I believe Aniplex's Kono figure line is doing the same thing as Good Smile's pop-up parade line, where they want to deliver very good figures for a low price, like a higher quality than prize figures, but like not breaking the bank as like a scale figure. And I think Kono figures, even though their MSRP is about $70 to $80 if you don't pre-order them, like I think they're pretty on to par with what you're paying for compared to pop-up parades, where even when they were like MSRP like $40, they're not good. A lot of people use the like the picture of Eren from Attack on Titan because that was just infinitely bad. But any pop-up parade that's came out recently, I'd say they're not really up to par to say any other prize figure company, except for maybe Furyu. Furyu's been on and off with their prize figures, but even on their off days, like I'd honestly rather just take like 2 to 3 Furyu prize figures than one pop-up parade that just isn't good looking. And when pop-up parades came out, I feel like Good Smile Company was genuinely trying to do something good, and you could see this by like the Weathering With You figures. Like infamously, like the fucking bases are so bad. I think we can all agree with that. And even when they came out, like when people were getting them, they're like, what the fuck, like why is it this ugly hexagonal base? But the Weathering With You figures, they actually just came with just like, the boxes, kind of like them kind of standing on some concrete, bricks and stuff like that. Like that was cool. And then like the Your Name ones is very Uh, they just have hexagons. Like people thought that they were gonna do kind of like a pop up parade version of the scales, but no, we didn't get that, which is sad. But I think after Good Smile Company said that they've made 100, and then they kind of did like a survey of like, oh, what kind of series do y'all want to see in the pop up parade line? They've just kind of fallen off. Like they haven't really been up to par. The quality controls hasn't really been that good paint wise and sculpt wise, and like just posing wise too. Like they're just kind of boring. The only thing I will say, like pop up parades do compared to like everybody else, is the fact that you're getting figures of characters that you don't typically see getting figures. A good example is all the Hatelia figures that have been coming out. I think they're on pre-order now. Most of the Hololive members are currently getting pop-up parades mostly right now. I appreciate that compared to Aniplex's Kono figures and Bandai's Figuart Zero, where they're just kind of doing just the stereotypical, oh, we're just gonna do Demon Slayer, Fate, One Piece, and for Bandai they kind of just do more shonen stuff with their Figuart Zero, which is fine because that is their bread and butter. After all, no problems with them. It's just that when you it's kind of like prize figures. When you see Rem for the 100th time, it's not very impressive, you know. So I will give props to where pop-up parades will get, and say that yeah, they are making figures of more than just Hatsune Miku. But that being said, I wish that they were better, you know, than just this kind of, I wish there was more figures of this character, and I just have to settle with just this kind of one that I bought for like $60. I don't think small basic bases get enough credit. And when I mean like a like basic base, I mean like, you know, like with scales, they kind of just have this like small circle base that might have some stuff like the character's name, or like if they're like some kind of like magic user, it'll have like some kind of magic rune star on it. Then like it's nothing to write home about, but at least it's smaller, you know. And a good example is also like prize figures. I think most prize figure companies, like they're really good about prize figure scale to base scale, because at least they're not taking up space, unless like they're like ByQ bunnies, like the second era where it was a gigantic oval. Then I mean that I just close my eyes, pretend not to see, but we're past that now. They have a very small circle base. Thank you so much for you. But what I mean by this is that a lot of people like gripe about, oh, I can't believe the base is just all basic, and sometimes it's just like a matte black, and it's just but like honestly, I'd rather take that than a gigantic fuck off base, you know. And to dog shit on pop-up parades more, like their bases are so huge for no reason, and they're also ugly. Like the hexagonal kind of off, this like blurry kind of off color shit, like fucking what is that? Like you could literally, all the prototypes all look better than the actual product because their base is just a clear acrylic circle. And hell, even some of the, like, obviously the prototypes will look better for advertising sake, but like they would all just look so much better with a base that isn't this fucking fuck off size of a hexagon, you know? And the biggest offense of like having like basic bases that are huge are like figures that sit. A good example is I have Fat Company's Type 97 from Girls Frontline and a red China dress. I don't remember what the official is called, the her actual version, but she sits on a stool, right? And they include this gigantic circle base for no reason. Like it extends the figure about like an extra, like about like an inch, I'd say, and like all around her, like even behind her. So like it, for where I'm having her right now, like if I don't have her with the base, because if I had her with the base, I couldn't fit another figure in there. Like I would currently just would have 2 in there, and that's all I would be able to fit with that big of a size of a base. I remember Daijobu opening up this A to Z figure, I think, of this like kind of like red hooded girl with like gigantic scissors, and she was kind of leaning back in a chair, and the fucking base was so huge. I'm like, dude, what is that, man? Like, you don't need, if they're sitting, that's already a base. Like, you don't need that big of a base. The only reason why the base is going to be that huge is because either it's super elaborate, and if it's an elaborate base, it better be a good base, or like the figure is just genuinely that size and it's going to take up the entire base. And I mean, that's understandable. But like, if the figure to base ratio is like more than, like, bro, just don't include it if they're sitting already, you know? There's this pop-up parade of this girl with like a revolver, and she's kind of like sitting on this kind of like red box thing, and like I thought she looked pretty cool until I saw some My Figure Collection photos where she has a fucking hexagonal base, and like you could just cut off the little tabs off the red box, and then there you go. You don't have to work that hard, dude. But whatever. Good Smile Company gotta get that. We gotta have all the bases look like that, even though we have the Weathering with You figures not have hexagonal bases. Could you imagine if they had the hexagonal bases on those figures? Oh my god. I hate cube Poskets. Cube Poskets are some of the worst prize figures to come out, I think. And I don't like what they represent. I believe Cube Poskets are made by Bandai, and Bandai says that they want to make Cube Poskets to kind of look like dolls. And I don't mind like the doll look. I think, you know, that's a thing for people. I respect it. It's not a look for me. But that being said, I don't think they like give off the doll feel. Like I look into a Cube Posket's eyes, and I don't see the same. I don't get the same type of feel that I do a doll. I get the same type of feel that I do like a pop figure. Like if I stare into it too long, I might die because it just sucks my soul compared to a doll where I feel like there is more life to it than just this like gigantic eyed piece of plastic that just, oh my god, this is like the most pop type of figure that we have in the anime figure collection. Community hall hobby, there you go. And I mean, if Cube Poskets are your jam, I mean, more power to you, because Cube Poskets are typically way more cheaper than like any other figure out there. But like, that being said, man, like, I'm not gonna lie, like the reason why they're that cheap is that's just how shops are able to sell them, because it's like, oh damn, $5 for like a figure. I mean, like, I'm gonna take it, you know. But there are some that I think that look good, and that's just the fact that they have just regular eyes compared to like these gigantic like buggy eye characters. The Disney ones, I think, with the buggy eyes kind of look better than like the anime character ones. Like I think the Inuyasha ones is the only one that I was like, oh, these look kind of cool, and that's just because they have regular eyes instead of these like big buggy eye, pupil eye figures. And I'm like, dude, you know, just stick with this, you know? You don't have to make them different. And when I said earlier, I don't like what they represent, is the fact that other companies are trying to compete with Bandai, and they're doing their own type of spin with Cube Poskets. Like recently, Sega just did their own line that is supposed to be like Cube Poskets called Tin and Pop. And I didn't think there could be a worse line than Cube Poskets, but I think we found the line. These look ugly. Like Sega, you can just stop. Like you don't have to do it. Just let Bandai do their own thing. They did it once. Like nobody's gonna buy Tin and Pop, okay? Even Japanese people are not gonna like it. Like pop figures already prefer Cube Poskets than these, I'm sure, even though the packaging kind of reminds me of pop figure. Like these like look at it. Like it's like they're ugly. Like they're like side eyeing and shit like that, dude. No, just leave it up to Bandai, Sega. You can stop. And I believe Furyu has their own type of cute posket line, but it looks better. I think they're called Tunais, something like that. I forgot. I would look it up, but my figure collection's down, so I can't look it up. Like imagine like in Yu-Gi-Oh where Pegasus kind of just like tunifies like the Yu-Gi-Oh monsters of his opponents. It's kind of like that, but with anime characters. I think they actually look pretty cool. And kind of cute for some of the characters. Like if they made like a Hatsune Miku and she looked cute and she kind of looked good, like I would get her. Or maybe like a Luca. I'm just saying for you, like if you did it, I mean, I consider if it looked good. To stick with the prize figure type of conversation that we're having here, I think Ichiban Kuji figures deserve the price hike that they have compared to just regular your stereotypical Crane prize figure. That being said, there are some Ichiban Kuji figures that I can't defend of like why are they like 50 to $100 of like the Hatsune Mikus by Taito, the Sakura ones, the infamous buck teeth Hatsune Miku. Yeah, no, like she doesn't. No, don't buy her for that price. And the other Hatsune Miku, which I actually think she looks really cute. It's just that apparently this is like the worst like Taito hair offender, where Taito had infamously like their hair pegs for their Hatsune Mikus aren't really like, they're kind of hard to put in, but like this one apparently is like the hardest. So I don't know what Taito thought was a good idea over there, but I mean, guess. And there's also some that just don't look good. Like I think there's been recent ones with Kanayo from Demon Slayer and Shinobu, made by Bandai. And I think Shinobu kind of overall doesn't look good. Like her base, her paint job, her sculpt is kind of just all kind of lackluster. And there's a lot of other Shinobu kind of prize figures out there, so it's kind of, I'd just rather skip. And then the Kanayo, she reminds me of like a front facing like Simpson. Like if like she looks good at like one like angle and like that's it. Ichiban Kuji figures, for being a quote unquote prize figure, I think a lot of them are really good looking, and a lot of them even like beat out like pop-up parades and like Kono figures by, I wouldn't say like a mile, probably for pop-up parades by a mile, but I would prefer some Ichiban Kuji figures over like a Figuarts or a Kono figure. And others, not so much, but I mean, overall, I think the quality of Ichiban Kuji figures are just better compared to your stereotypical Rem Crane figure that you can get for like $8. And a lot of people, I feel Ichiban Kuji's figures don't deserve the price hike, but like they're just so good looking, you know? So I totally understand why they're the price the way they are. It's just that some of them really don't deserve it. So, do your own research and make your own opinions, and that's how market changes. I don't like bootlegs. I think obviously a lot of people don't like bootlegs. But what surprises me is that some people will like go out of their way to be like, I will even buy a bootleg for MSRP. Like stop, like don't, please, because that will just show that that's to like the company who is making these bootlegs that it's okay to make these bootlegs. Because bootlegs exist in the first place because people who don't know anything about the hobby will just buy it for their friends or their children just because, oh yeah, I know this is a Nezuko from Demon Slayer and she kind of looks bad here, but because I don't know like what an official one looks like, I'm just gonna buy it. And plus it's $10, here you go. And that's the main reason why bootlegs exist, but when you're actively buying a bootleg that's like the same MSRP for a anime like scale figure, like some people are out here even buying like bootleg bunnies of like 1/4, and they're like $200. Why? Like, why would you do that? Like, you could use that $200 to either buy like a scale or even another bunny. Like, just put that money away and then buy a real bunny, because that bootleg is not gonna have that same type of quality that the original is gonna have. You know, all that bootleg talk put aside, I think we all know where bootlegs originate from, and they originate from China. But when China does official figures, they do them right. And I'm going to say that Chinese figures, when they're official, they're better than Japanese figures, at least for scale wise. Because a lot of prize figures, if you look at the box hard enough, some of them will say made in China, but we close our eyes, pretend not to see. We're talking about scale figures here, and scale figure companies from China are like, they do some magic, man. They know what the fuck they're doing. Like Maitos, Apex, gacha companies, like the video game companies, like Hoyoverse/MiHoYo, like the Klee figure that I did in my previous haul video. Like, she looks so good. Like, oh my god, she looks so cute. And like all the Honkai Impact figures that they've done, that they originally, like, in their warehouse, like they did themselves, like they're so good. And I know that Hyperglyph did their own figure of W, like kind of flaws here and there, but considering, like, comparing the figure to like her actual official art, but like all those put aside, like she still looks good considering that that's like the first figure that they didn't have Apex do. And NetEase Games, who owns Amiyoji, their Amiyoji figures, both like kind of like chibi figures and like their like glamorous scale figures, like they're good, and they're all such a good price. Like, there's not a lot of figures that kind of go past the $200 USD range, and if they do, they're usually really elaborate, being mostly from NetEase Games. Like the Apex Yae Sakura, if I butcher that, whoops. But like she's under 200 USD. That was MSRP. I don't know about aftermarket. I haven't checked aftermarket in a hot second, but like, damn, dude. And I think we all know the reason why they can make these figures so cheap. I'm just gonna say, you know, they're Chinese companies for a reason. If you don't understand, then bless your heart. But that's all I gotta say in the matter. But that being said, they are still really cheap for their price compared to Japanese figure companies, where some of them will charge an up and a leg for this figure, and then the figure comes out and it doesn't even stand up to a Chinese figure that just like miles ahead of the fucking quality control wise, and it's cheaper. Like, I think the only thing that pushes Chinese figures back is the fact that a lot of Chinese figures are targeting a Chinese audience, which obviously understandable because most of them are being sold on Taobao instead of AmiAmi. And, you know, that's understandable. And that's why we're not going to see a lot of like I've said this a lot of times, but I feel like the Hatsune Miku Shohei version was just like a freak accident. And because she was a Taobao exclusive, she was only to be sold in the Chinese market. So we're not going to see like a Chinese like Rem or any other popular character anytime soon, like a Demon Slayer or something like that. A lot of Chinese companies will either stick to the games that they own, like NetEase Games, or they'll stick to properties that they know that do well in China. Now, I know that a lot of like my figure collection purists have already clicked off this video because they're like, oh my god, I can't believe he said China over Japan. But I think the opinion overall has been swaying to Chinese figure companies over Japanese figure companies, especially of recently. And to kind of bring them back, I'll end this video off with a popular opinion. I think we need more anime men figures. Now, I know that anime men figures exist. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm not blind. There's like 1 million Tanjiros. There's a bunch of figure companies that are trying to do a Satoru Gojo figure right now. But, I think we need like lewd anime men figures. That's what I'm trying to say here. And I know that's weird coming from a guy who mostly just buys girl anime figures. Like, I'm just saying the unlocked potential behind a lewd anime man, well, the lewd anime men figure market is like, it's unlocked. It's untouched because there's not a lot of companies that want to do it. It's kind of just like Binding, who kind of just like, oh yeah, we know our bread and butter, lewd anime 1/4 bunny girls, and do it again. The only company I can think of that might do more lewd anime men figures is Native. And I was yesterday years old when I found out that Native is the combination between naked and creative. That's why they're called Native. And I was like, oh shit, like that's some like chonk brain, like 5-head 4D chess naming scheme there. But I want to see not one of this like 1/8 scale bunny male man. I want to see a 1/4 anime man with fishnets and a bunny suit and bunny ears and everything. I don't want none of this like 1/8 shit where they're kind of in a suit, even though they look good. And funny enough, those guys who are like the ones made by Freeing that are 1/8, they're going for like super high money. Like, I think the last time I checked, they were going for like $400-500. They could be going for more. You can fact check me on that, but like the last time I checked was the 10 count ones, and like people were like paying an arm and a leg for it. So, I mean, there's obviously a demand because $400-500, like, that's more than some of Freeing's 1/4 bunnies. And this also proves that figure companies don't look at aftermarket, because fuck, if I was an anime figure company and I saw that they were making that much just from like a 1/8, like, what's stopping you from making a 1/4 at that point? The only thing I can think of is that the Japanese market wouldn't want to see lewd anime men in, you know, real fishnet tights and stuff like that. But I feel like, well, first of all, I don't think they want to really like they don't want to cater to a Western audience, because that is definitely a Western audience type of type of figure. Like, everybody and the mothers, if they find out that there's going to be like I had this thought like earlier in this month that I was like, what if like Tengen's wives had all bunny figures, and like Tengen himself was in a bunny suit with fishnets with bunny ears and stuff like that, and you could get like a special all in one base where it's all 4 of them posing. Like, could you imagine how much money Freeing would make if they did that? Like, that's free. Like, you can take that idea, Freeing, Native, whoever makes 1/4, you can take it and run. Like, you don't even have to credit me. You could take the money, because I know that once those pre-orders go up on your own site, or you're on AmiAmi or something like that, the website's going to crash, because everybody and their mother's going to be running over to there to try to pre-order that. Okay. I'm just saying that it's a market that is unlocked, and that's just, I would be invested. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I also thought, like, what if Gojo, like the fucking hottie man of the anime season, like, what if he got his like 1/4 bunny? Like I don't even need like the fishnets and stuff like that. Like, he could be in a suit too. Like, I'd buy it. That's an instant pre-order. Again, Ami would go down if that happened. It's just baffling that they haven't done a 1/4 bunny man yet. But, you know, it's whatever. Hopefully. This video is like about 32 minutes. I'm gonna cut out all the pauses and stuff like that. It'll probably be like around 28 maybe. If you want more like kind of these like chill talking back videos where I have like a VOD playing in the back, let me know and I'll do more. And let's all gather and recommend freeing to make a 1/4 bunny scale of Tengen and his wives, because I would want that. I know that you want that. Like, that's free money, freeing. Like, come on, please. It doesn't have to be binding, man. Like, please, please.